I look at crashing out is when your emotions get the best of you and it causes you to do some action or basically end up doing something in general that you end up regretting. So even the process leading up to crashing out, for instance, a woman can feel like, oh, what is he up to? Oh, he thinks that he can go without me and he doesn't need me. So those thought process is leading to crashing out, right? Now, I'm going to talk in a second about how she really will end up crashing out. But because that built up, either she could choose to try to exit before crashing out or crashing out happens. If y'all are familiar with Blueface and Christian Rock, if you're familiar with, let's just say in general, when you have relationships literally go downhill and either the partner is talking crazy about the other partner, maybe even exposing the whole business. Sometimes it's either pulling up to the house, breaking the windows, damaging the car, popping the tires, egging the house, etc. So those are all different forms of crashing out. And of course, some are really on the lower end and sometimes it's on the severe end. So obviously the more crazier the situation is, the worse the crashing out is happening. So if it's happening with her, you might have sometimes, and I see this in the comment section a lot, is when a woman will go ahead and say that she's getting text messages, or reversing it, sorry, she's sending you text messages, and when she's sending you those text messages, she's literally either doing it from an unknown number or a number where it's like you don't know who this is. Because I've read comments where you guys say you'll get the unknown, the block numbers, etc. So since that ends up being the case, you have to then know that she's on the verge of crashing out. And also you can say that it's already happening in that case, because realistically sometimes the last thing she wants to do is be that direct, and in that form is showing that her emotions are getting the best of her. Now, earlier I said that there's a way of seeing it out. So that way could have been where she doesn't do anything direct. Sometimes you'll think that she's extremely unfazed. I do talk a lot about like what happens behind the scenes, but that's not the topic right now. But when she is seeming like she's unfazed, that could be because you're not getting no communication still, you're not getting no reach out, etc. So if that's happening, don't take it personal. Don't take it like she is not crashing out per se, but definitely understand that she could be on the verge of it. And it also depends on how you guys ended. Like if she did something really wrong and now she has to check herself, or let's even say if you did like completely the ghosting, the ignoring, etc., like all those different tactics or ways or things that are just necessary to do, it could play a larger impact on how it impacts her, the feelings that's left, and how she'll carry out afterwards, which is absolutely key. And before I continue on, per usual, make sure you give this video a big thumbs up. Don't forget to be subscribed, and of course check out Patreon for more exclusive and explicit content. And you can also become a YouTube member, and if you want to get on the line, talk about what's going on with you could definitely do that, and check out whatever on there that could be helpful for y'all. Links are down below. Now let me go ahead and say that a lot of times when this is happening with her and these emotions get the best of her, it's also a form of acting out of character. So just look at it as in like this: when you're more composed and intact and like just controlling yourself in general, and how obviously having self-discipline, you got to have that in that process, you can resist easily on doing things that are emotionally like urging you to want to go ahead and do. So that can simply look like making sure, let's compare it to you, making sure that you don't reach out, something as simple as that. So instead, for her case, it's going to look like maybe doing something that's very childish, very petty, and tricks, mind games, that sorts of stuff. And definitely for a lot of those comments I've seen from y'all, and even talking to y'all, consultations and emails and stuff, there's normally a certain pattern of, this game is done, why do it this way, it doesn't make sense, and it's a waste of time. And if y'all want a part 2 or have your stories, comment it down below, especially if you want like more help. And then, I help you out the best I can. Other people are there as well. I see y'all helping out each other. Shout out to that. So back to like a lot of these ongoing common things that are happening, common traits that women will have, it will look like a lot of pettiness before rationality and being realistic, let's even say. So back to like the unknown numbers, back to like watching you from a burner account, sorts of stuff that's not identifying that is clearly her. Yeah, you could know. Sometimes it's pretty obvious, but that's something that could happen. Sometimes it could just be trying to have control over the situation. So sometimes you'll notice blocking to unblock. Sometimes it's blocking you from viewing her story, her page. Meanwhile, she'll still be watching, lurking you from afar. Sometimes it's getting access to people that she knows that are obviously associated with you and trying to stay a part of your life, but not directly to you. That could still be a form of crashing out. And some can look at it as in like not at a high level, could be more on the minimalistic side because it's not causing so much to have to be done. It's low effort, let's say. So, and also, this is actually a key point too. It could be low effort for her, but for somebody else, it could be on the higher end. If we're obviously trying to be realistic or trying to be rational, let's say, and logical, then we could say that that shouldn't be that hard to do. But we know that most likely or oftentimes breadcrumbing and bare minimum is very common when it comes to women. So those little things that you might think like, oh, it's not a big deal or it's not that hard for you to do, for her it's otherwise. And that is a downside, but that's a reminder and a heads up that you have to keep for yourself. And so to wrap up this video, really make sure that whatever you're noticing happening, don't treat it as something that you want to entertain or go back and forth, because overall it's going to be a waste of time and it's very much draining. So you have to know at this point, if that's her behavior, don't deal with it. And I didn't say this in the beginning, but a lot of times this just leads to like toxicness in the relationship or more toxic behavior from her. So if you want that to come to an end or you don't want to deal with that, you definitely do have to change how you handle it. Oftentimes just separate yourself from it. I hope this helped you out in some sort of way. If you want more videos like this, let me know. I love y'all, and don't forget to check out the links down below. Take care of yourself, and that's it for this video. Bye, y'all.